everyone. Welcome back to our Make It in Germany webinar. Today is the last webinar of our team week about recognitions. And today we are speaking about the recognition of regulated professions. And we invited an expert in the field, Mr. Ula Bachatil. That later on is going to introduce himself when he will have his word and talk about the recognition of regulated professions. But before we begin, maybe most of you already know me. I'm Jamal and I'm working for Make It in Germany, and I'm together with my colleagues, Mrs. Katarina Obanchik, who will explain to us give us some little advices about some technical advices, and after that, I'm going to push the webinar. So, Katarina, you have the word now.
Okay, thank you, and welcome to our third part of our theme week series. My name is Katarina Obanchik, and I'm here to help you out in the technical issues. I will moderate the chat and collect all your questions during the presentation. I hope you all can hear us and you have no sound problems. If so, make sure you have selected computer audio in your GoToWebinar user panel. Sometimes if you have problems, it helps when you switch it off and then turn it on again. This solves some technical problems. Second thing is you can type your question in the chat. You can see it here in the screenshot. Don't be confused, only the moderators can see the questions and I will collect them. And at the end, our experts will answer your question regarding the recognition process. And yes, on the handouts, you can download today's presentation from ZSBA and also from Make It in Germany. And we will upload this webinar on our YouTube channel in the upcoming weeks. So check our YouTube channel regularly out. And now we are starting the presentation, Jean-Marc. Thank you.
Thank you, Katarina, for the word. And yes, the agenda for today. First of all, I'm going to give you a brief overview of what is Make It in Germany. And in the second part, I'm going to specify actually by clarify what we are talking today. And in the third part, I'm going to give a word to David, who is going to talk about the recognition of regulated professions in Germany. And in the last part, we're going to have a Q&A session where you will have the opportunity to ask questions. You still have the opportunity during the webinar to ask your question, but we will answer all questions at the end of the webinar. So, first of all, what is Make It in Germany? So, Make It in Germany is the German federal government information portal for qualified professionals. And it's actually a website where qualified professionals from all around the world can find any kind of information regarding the migration process. So we can find information on visa, also on recognition of a procedure, recognition procedure. And this portal was launched in 2012. And as it's available in 4 languages: in German, in English, in Spanish, and in French. We also have 14 landing pages, and the landing pages are more like a summary of what kind of information you can find on Make It in Germany. And these landing pages are available in 14 languages as Arabic or other languages. And till now, we had over 45 million users who have already used Make It in Germany. And the aim of the portal is actually to encourage and to inspire qualified professionals for all over the world to come and to work in Germany. And in order to do so, we provide binding information so you can be 100% sure that the information that you find on Make It in Germany are true, because it's actually an official website. And we provide also backend job listing. And one of our biggest advantages of our job listing on Make It in Germany is that firms that are publishing the job offer on our job listing, they are aware that they can receive candidature from qualified professionals from all around the world. So they won't be surprised if they receive a candidature from someone who is not from Germany. That's actually a bigger advantages when you are not in Germany. And we also provide, we also are a partner for firms in Germany by providing them information on how they can recruit qualified professionals from around the world, how they can integrate them in their firms and the different kind of law that actually applying to them. We also give like personal advices if you want like specific, also if you need specific information, you can just contact us via our contact formula, and you can just call us via our hotline. You can also chat with us at a specific amount of time in the day, and you can also send out an email. So that actually a different possibility you have to contact us. And here's kind of information you can find on Make It in Germany. We have a quick check that they can give you an assessment of your opportunities. That's actually the first thing to do when visiting the website for the first time. We also have information on how to find a job in Germany, but also about visa regulation. That's actually very important for people coming from country outside of the European country. And we also have about this topic recognition. We also have detailed information about this topic that's actually really, really important. So what are we talking about today? So for all the people who want to immigrate to Germany and that are coming from country outside of the European country, they need a visa. And one of the conditions in order to get a work visa is that your qualification has to be recognized in Germany. That's actually one of the conditions. In order to do so, you've got two methods. So the first method is you can provide a positive result in the ANABIN database or a statement of comparability by the Central Office for Foreign Education. Actually, both are actually the same. So when we talk about comparability, you just have to keep in mind that I'm referring to a positive result in the ANABIN database or the statement of comparability. That's actually one method you get. The other one is a professional recognition by the competent German authorities. So that's actually the two methods you get in order to fulfill this requirement for the visa. So the decision for the process, whether or not you need recognition or statement of comparability, depend on different things. So first thing is if your job you want to do in Germany, if it's a regulated job, or if the job you want to do is regulated or not regulated. But also another question is if you have a university degree or vocational qualification, that is actually answers you have to answer first before deciding which kind of method you may use in order to fulfill this requirement for your visa. So the difference between regulated and non-regulated. So regulation means by definition that a specific qualification is prescribed by law in order to be allowed to work in a profession. So we have to keep in mind without having this specific qualification, it won't be possible to work in a regulated profession. I mean, that is not a thing that is really particular to Germany, because that is also happening in a lot of countries. I mean, you cannot just like wake up one day and decide to work as a doctor. For example, it won't be possible because doctor is a regulated profession, and also in Germany, many professions in the health service, but also in legal advice, like if you want to work as a lawyer, for example, it's also regulated, but also teaching in state schools, that's actually different things, different professions that are regulated in Germany. And but you have to keep in mind that most professions in Germany are actually non-regulated. So that actually a lot of professions like IT specialists, economists, business analysts, actually most of them are not regulated. So you can find out whether or not your profession is regulated or not in the recognition finder on the regulation in Germany portal. So we put the link here. So after that, when you don't know the presentation, you can just open the link, and then you will arrive in this recognition finder, and then you type your job, and then you have, after answering different kind of question, at the end it's going to tell you if the job you want to do in Germany is regulated or not. But actually most of the time, most of professions in Germany are not regulated. So I've mentioned two slides before, so it depends on two factors when you want whether or not you need a professional recognition or this comparability. So here is the things. If you want to work in Germany, first of all, you have to answer this question. in which kind of profession do I want to work. If you want to work in a regulated profession, of course, it doesn't matter if you have a university degree or a vocational qualification. Regulation is a must. I mean, it doesn't all matter where you come from. I mean, even if you come from a EU country and you, for example, doesn't need a work visa, still you will have to prove that you have this recognition in order to be allowed to work in this profession, because this profession is regulated. So if you want to work in a non-regulated profession in Germany, it depends on two factors. You have to answer again another question. Which kind of qualification do I have? If I have a university degree, in that case, you don't need recognition. You only need a comparability. Comparability, I was referring to a statement of comparability by the Office of Foreign Education or a positive result in the NABIN database. That's actually both. You can use both. You can use one of them, actually. It's pretty fine. But if you have a vocational qualifications, so that means you have a qualification from not from a university, for example, in that case, you need recognition if you need to fulfill these conditions to come to Germany. But if you are coming from a European country, for example, you don't need a visa in order to be able to work in Germany. So in that case, that thing will not apply to you. So I mean, in a vocational qualification, in a non-regulated profession, as a EU burger, as a EU members, you can work in Germany without problem. But if you are coming from a country outside of a European country, one of the conditions for a visa is to prove that your qualification is recognized. Then in this case, you need recognition. That's actually the things. And this week we cover all topics. So on Monday, we have an expert of the Central Office of Foreign Education. We talked about this comparability. Yesterday, we had an expert from recognition in Germany, or we talked about the recognition of non-regulated profession. And today, we are talking about the recognition of regulated professions. So it doesn't matter if you have a university degree or vocational qualification. So today we're only thinking about regulated professions in Germany. So as again, that was our program for our team week. As you can see, today is actually the last day, and you can find also the two other webinar will be uploaded on YouTube in the upcoming weeks, and also this webinar will also be uploaded in the upcoming week. But before I give a word to David, we probably ask you two questions. I mean, the first question for us to know if you are actually in the right webinar, and I'm going to ask you the first question. So, in which profession do you want to work in Germany? Do you want to work in a regulated profession, or you want to work in a non-regulated profession? Okay. Oh, that's pretty interesting, because you may see here, most of the people want to work in the regulated profession. So that means actually you are in the right webinar today. And for people who want to work in a non-regulated profession, for example, still the topic of regulation is relevant, but it depends on which kind of qualification you have. And that's, I'm going to ask you the second question is what is which qualification do you have? And again, if you have a vocational qualification or a university degree. I mean, for all the people who answers with all the people who answers with regulated profession in the last question, for them, it doesn't matter actually, because if you want to work in a regulated profession, it doesn't matter which qualification you have, because one condition is you need recognition, because the work you want to do in Germany is regulated. So I'm going to show you the results. It's pretty interesting that actually most of the people today have a university degree. So I may be referring that probably there's a lot of doctor here, because doctor is a university degree and is a regulated profession in Germany. So that's probably a lot here. But we will speak today in general about recognition of regulated profession, not only for doctor or things like this. Before I give the word to David, I still have two more questions for you. And David is actually from the Service Center for Professional Recognition. So it's maybe interesting for us to know if you already know this service. So the question is pop up in front of you. It's going to be interesting to know if you already know this service. Maybe I give you 5 more seconds. Okay, that's interesting because most of the people don't know the Service Center for Professional Recognition. So, David, as you may know, actually, most of the people don't know this service. It's actually interesting. And the last question before I give the word to David is, what is your qualification? That's actually also interesting for us. Nee, sorry. The last question will be, who is your first contact person abroad? So if you want to make this recognition procedure according to you, who is your first contact person? So you have pro recognitions or recognition in Germany or the Service Center for Professional Recognition. So according to you, who is your first contact person? Of course, David is going to talk about it in his presentation, but it's still interesting for us to know that. Give you 5 more seconds. Okay, so according to most people, I mean, 56% of people answers with recognition in Germany. But to that question, I'm going to let David explain to you in his presentation, actually, who is the first contact person you may contact if you need information about recognition in Germany. So I'm done for my part now. I'm going to give the word now to David, and I will come back later on for the Q&A sessions. So David, you have the word now.
Okay, thank you. I hope that you can see my presentation now. It cannot be seen, so I think now it can be seen, right?
Yes.
Okay, very good. 1 second. Okay, here we go. Yes, I asked this question in advance, where you have to go, because I would like to know how familiar you are already with the recognition process for regulated jobs. It is not always easy to make out the differences. So that's why the German government has decided to build up a service center that is the Service Center for Professional Recognition. And we are here to help you. Yeah, actually, we're here to help with any kind of recognition, but my expertise here today is the recognition of regulated professions. So Jean-Marc already went to that topic, and I'm going to dive further into that. So as I told you, this is our key subject, professional recognition in Germany, and I will just shortly introduce you to our agenda, or what our task is here. And I will shortly introduce you to our service center, tell you something about regulated professions, and I will give you a short focus on the recognition procedure in detail, and tell you something about the differences between European certificates and non-European certificates, and also talk to you about the required language skills that may be needed in different jobs, in show you some helpful websites, provide you with resources, and give you necessary contacts. So this is going to be our agenda, and as I mentioned before, this is us. We are the Service Center for Professional Recognition. There's a high demand in Germany for further information about the recognition procedure, and that's why we have been launched just 2 years ago. So our aim is to provide you with guidance and support for the recognition process. And it is aimed for people who are living abroad. So you can get in touch with us when you live abroad. When you're already here in Germany, there are other organizations that are here to help you. So this is the first important thing. When you live abroad, you can get in touch with us. You can get in touch with us through the Make It in Germany site that has been introduced to you. And what also is important, that we are not a competent authority. So we are a service center. That means we will guide you through the recognition process, give you advice, but we do not make any decisions. We don't decide whether you're going to be a doctor or not. We are just going to guide you to the right place, guide you to the right people, and help you with preparing all the documents. And this is not such an easy task because there are a lot of competent authorities in Germany. So I think this is a good service product that we have here for you. Okay, so what does professional recognition mean? I think we already got into that topic, and it's still, I want to repeat that it's the evaluation of your foreign qualification. That means your education, your experience, your certificates, everything that is connected to your qualification with the German reference qualification. So this means everyone who wants to work in a regulated profession needs a recognition. And of course, due to the visa process, everyone who wants to look for a job in Germany or needs a visa because he comes from a non-European country also needs a recognition. But since we are here to talk about regulated professions, I want to get into that. So here you can see what regulated professions are. Jean-Marc already told you about these professions. They especially appear in the health sector, and as Jean-Marc already told you, there are certain legal requirements that relate to regulated professions. So when you come to Germany, you just cannot work as a nurse. You have to undergo a recognition process. So it especially affects doctors, nurses, but also lawyers, pharmacists, teachers, or psychotherapists. They all need recognition because their profession is regulated. So here I want to give you an overview about the recognition process, and these are a lot of steps, and I want to go shortly into each step, but just to show you how the recognition process of regulated jobs works. So the first thing that you have to do, and it's also not easy, but therefore we have been established in order to help you, is to identify the competent authority. So who is in charge to proceed your regulation? Then you have to prepare the required documents. That means you have to do translations, you have to do certifications, and all these things. You have to submit the application, usually via postal service. And then there is an assessment of your qualification. This process usually takes time. It can take up to 1 year, so 4 months to 1 year, and then a decision will be made. So in most cases, the decision is a so-called deficit statement, because the training in your country, in the German country, is slightly different, and therefore to get the full acceptance of your training, you have to do a so-called adaptation measure. And after having done that, this adaptation measure can be a course, a training program, something like that, you will get the professional license. So how to identify the right profession? So for example, is your training as a physiotherapist in Brazil the same as in Germany? Can you be called a physiotherapist in Germany as well? This you can find out through Anerkennung in Deutschland, the site that has been introduced to you the day before. And there you can find out whether you have the right reference position. Then it comes to the identification of the competent authority. This is a step where we, as the Service Center of Professional Recognition, through the website Make It in Germany, will help you. So you have to choose for yourself in which federal state you want to work. Is it North Rhine-Westphalia, or do you want to go to Berlin? The recognition procedure differs slightly in each state. Sometimes there are completely different authorities in charge of proceeding your application. And altogether there are 1,400 competent authorities. So please get in touch with us and we will help you to identify the right one. Then you have to prepare the required documents. It is usually shown on the websites of these authorities what you have to do with your documents. So how does the certification of the copies works? How do you exactly translate the certificates? In many cases, you have to do a certification of your copies in the German consulate. The translation cannot be done by every translator. They have to be in a database that is provided by the German state. And what is most important when it comes to the preparation of your documents is the completeness of documents, because once you submit your documents, the process will start, and the process takes time, but it takes even more time when the competent authority finds out, oh, these documents are not complete, they have to be completed, and they have to write another letter to you, and you have to prepare the documents again, and it will take a lot of time. So let me show you an example when it comes to nursing. The competent authority will do an assessment of your qualification, and the assessment is based on the duration and the content of the training and your work experience. And usually the assessment reveals substantial differences in the design of training system, which is typical. This doesn't mean that your training is less worth or something, but there are specifics in German healthcare. So in Germany, there's an equal amount between theory and practice when it comes to vocational training, not only nursing, and many other jobs too. For example, caretakers in kindergarten as well. Then the curriculum includes non-related aspects, social sciences, law studies. This may not appear in a curriculum for nurses in the Philippines, for example, or especially when it comes to caretaking in kindergarten, you usually have early childhood pedagogics. Then, of course, healthcare work in Germany includes methods of basic care, such as mobilization, washing, dressing. This might be entirely different from other countries where work in health includes more medical aspects, like working with machines or something like that. And then, of course, when it comes to machines, technical equipment in hospitals can be entirely different. So what can be the outcome of an assessment? There is most probably going to be a partial equivalence. It doesn't have to be when it comes to doctors, for example, but to fulfill or to make it a full equivalent, you have to follow adaptation measures. And after you have completely or successfully completed the adaptation measures, you will get a complete equivalence and you will get a professional license. In this case, you have to provide German skills on a B2 level, and maybe depending on the country, on the state, show up a criminal record that is clean and provide a medical checkup. So the adaptation measures or the post-qualification measures usually require or usually can be fulfilled in two possibilities. So one thing that you can do is a knowledge test, and the other thing is an adjustment course. So to make it shortly, the difference is that the adjustment course is usually based on the essential differences that has been noted. So there's a thorough assessment of your qualification, and based on that, a special training program is designed for you, and it is usually split between theoretical and practical classes. So when you're a doctor, they will suggest that you do 3 months in surgery and 3 months in a private practice, and then at the end there's a special design test for you, and then you go and write an exam. When it comes to the knowledge test, it is not individualized. It is a test that is designed for a lot of people where you usually have to do a preparatory class, and there will be an oral and practical examination. So these are the two ways, that the two possibilities that are there. It can be for nurses, it can be for doctors, but also for example, for teachers as well. Of course, there is a difference between people who have achieved their qualification in a European country and for people who have their qualification from a non-European country. There's an automatic recognition when you're from the European Union, but still you have to apply for recognition. So it means the equivalence will be granted automatically. So when you are a Portuguese doctor, for example, you will get an automatic recognition, but you still have to apply for that, and you have to prove your B2 German skills. So the language skills are actually not necessary when you submit your application for a regulated job. You can submit your application without the knowledge of German, but we recommend to submit the application when B1 or B2 has been achieved, because in order to get a professional license, B2 is usually mandatory. So there are different language certificates that are required, especially Goethe, TELC, ÖSD. The usual language skills are accepted at these competent authorities. So 16D, the German Residence Act, when it comes to regulated jobs, says that when you have achieved an assessment of your qualification, for example, you're a doctor, your qualification has been assessed by the competent authority, and you have a contract with a clinic, for example, that says we are here to give you a course that will give you a full equivalence, and this course, this contract, will be an evidence of participation in a training system. So this contract, together with your partial outcome of your assessment, has to be shown at your consulate, and then you will get a residence title for further training to get the full recognition. So you will get a residence title under paragraph 16D. To repeat the whole process, I just show it to you quickly because a lot of steps have been explained. But as you can see, nurse is a regulated job in Germany. You have seen it maybe on the Make It in Germany site. So this means you have to obtain a professional license. So therefore, you need a proof that your foreign training is equivalent to the German training in order to receive this professional license. So therefore, you have to choose a federal state in Germany because there are 16 different authorities. Then you choose a state, apply for the recognition at the respective competent authority. They will do an assessment. You might have to do adaptation measures, most probably. And then you choose a knowledge test and show your B2 skills. And after that, you will get your professional license. So this case, I mean, I have shown it to you very quickly, but it can take up to 2 years. So be sure that you are well prepared for that and that you plan enough time for the whole process. So this is how to reach us. Make It in Germany, the site that many of you know, is the site that leads to us, to the Professional Recognition Center. Everything that is recognition related, whether it is non-regulated jobs or regulated jobs, will be forwarded towards us. Then there is the Recognition in Germany portal. You might heard of that yesterday. And then I've asked that in the second question that Jean-Marc has asked before the presentation towards you. Then there are pro recognition centers in the country. So if anyone in the audience is from a country that is listed here and has wants to do a recognition process, just get in touch with the pro rec centers. They are attached to the German Chambers of Commerce. So they can be found in these countries. So I heard that we got many from Latin America in our audience. So in this case, Brazil and Colombia have pro recognition centers. And for those who are already in Germany, just get in touch with Netzwerk IQ. This is our partner organizations that helps with recognition process once you're in Germany already. So as you can see, this is the website Recognition in Germany. It has been shown to you already, and that's it from my side, from my part. And this is the way how to reach us. And if you have questions or want to submit your documents, just do it under this email address, and you will shortly be contacted by our back office. So that's it from my side. Thank you very much. And now we can get to the questions.
Yes, thank you very much, Devin, for your helpful input. We have received some questions in the chat, and I'm beginning with a question regarding architecture. I'm a licensed architect in the US. If I want to work in Germany with a professional title architect, then I would need to go through the recognition process. However, I can also work without using the title, and then I would not require recognition. If that is the case, would I go through the non-regulated process in order to get a work visa residence permit?
Yes. So when it comes to architects, it's exactly as it has been described. So you can go to the non-regulated process because an architect is not a regulated profession. You just can go to ZAB and ask for the recognition, and with the recognition document he can enter into Germany and work, but he doesn't carry the professional title. So once the architect is in Germany, he can contact the Chamber of Architects, which is also in each state different, and there he can demand the allowance to carry the professional title architect. But for entering Germany, he just has to get the ZAB license. That's pretty much all he has to do.
Maybe I'm going to just complete what David just said. If you want, as architect, for example, you need a restatement of comparability, or you can use ANABIN. So that's actually what it was referring to ZSBA. It's actually both methods that you can use. You can use ANABIN if you find your university and your degree there. You can print both, and then it's actually you got your proof. And if you don't find them, then you still have the possibility to have the statement of comparability. And with that, we can have your visa and come to Germany. And later on, you can get any recognition for all the allowance to use the architect, the name architect. I mean, the same thing apply also to engineer. So as an engineer, you can come to Germany with the proof of ZEB. And if you want later on to carry on the name engineer, you need also to get this allowance from the Chamber of Engineers once you are in Germany. Actually, the same thing.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next question is it correct 4-year nursing degree from Indian University is listed in the ANABIN database? Are they equivalent for nursing in Germany? Yes. Is this enough, or should she apply for recognition?
For an university in which country? I haven't got the country.
India.
Okay. So since India is a non-European country, you have to apply for a recognition. But also, even if it would be for an European country, you would have to apply as well, because nursing is a regulated profession. So even if your course should be listed in ANABIN, it is not sufficient. You have to apply for recognition at the competent authority. That means you have to identify the state you want to work in, let's say Bavaria, and then find out the competent authority and see what the requirement is for an assessment of your training. So nursing usually in Germany is a vocational training. That means it is non-academic, But even if your training in India was academic, you still have to do the assessment. It applies to all regulated jobs.
Okay, thank you. We have a lot of engineers, I think, here under the past participants. Maybe you can answer if engineers usually need a recognition. Wow, a specialty.
No, it's like Jean-Marc just described it with architects. So all what engineers have to do is they have to get in touch with ZSBA. That means they have to apply for a statement of comparability. But before doing that, they should definitely search the database ANABIN. It has been described 2 days ago. They have to see if the degree is mentioned there. And it has to be the degree as well as the university and the exact name of your course. So if this is all written on, or if this is all mentioned on one document, just do a ANABIN printout and then you already have your full recognition. That's pretty much it. But if you don't find it, and that's most likely the case because ANABIN is not complete, you send your required documents to ZSBA, that is the center that does the recognitions, and you can choose the country where you're from, and then there it is exactly described what documents have to be sent there. And once you get the recognition of your academic degree as an engineer, you just need a contract with a German company, a work contract, and the statement of comparability, and you will get a working visa according to paragraph 618, and you can migrate to Germany. So this is one thing. You need a statement of comparability, and then you can work as an engineer. But another thing is that, let's just make it very short, then I'll be finished. If you want to carry the title engineer in Germany, it is not possible with the statement of comparability. So once you're in Germany and you feel like, well, I don't feel like I'm completed here, I want to be called an engineer as well, you just go to the nearest chamber of architects, of engineers, and apply for your right to carry the title engineer. And they will also do a sort of assessment of your training, and then you will be allowed to carry the title engineer, because it's also a protected title in Germany, as well as architects. So that means the title is protected, but it is still not regulated. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. The next question is, are the services for the ZSBA following up the recognition free of charge?
Yes, of course we are free of charge. We are a federal organization, but please don't forget that we don't do the recognition. So we are not a competent authority. So what we do is we just guide you through the process. So you will write mail to us and say, I want to work as a nurse in North Rhine-Westphalia. So what we do is we will submit to you the application form. We will describe the process in detail to you, and we will guide you through the whole process. But once you submit your documents to the state of North Rhine-Westphalia, to the competent authority, they will ask you for money because the process is not for free. It differs in each state, but it can be, let's say, 300 or 400 euros at the competent authority. Then there are costs for all the translations and these things. But our service is for free, of course. But it is, as I mentioned in the presentation, we don't make any decisions. We don't provide any titles or anything like that. We just guide you through the process. We are service organizations, so to say.
Okay, thanks. The next question is, I'm an English and Turkish lecturer at the university. I have a level of A1 to A2 German language. Is it possible to improve my German in Germany after the recognition process and my documents being accepted?
So I assume that this person would like to work as a teacher. So there things can get a bit complicated, because in order to come to Germany, he has to be accepted as a teacher, and this will not be possible without the knowledge of German. Furthermore, teaching in Germany usually requires the study of two subjects. Let's say mathematics and biology, for example, or in this case, it is English and German. But then there will be an assessment on how well your knowledge of these subject is. It is in most cases very problematic to get an acceptance or a full equivalence as a teacher. So in many cases, people will have to attend university again, or in many cases, people even don't fulfill the necessity to study two subjects. So when it comes to teaching, it will be absolutely helpful to get in touch with us. We have a team that is specialized on pedagogics, because teaching in Germany can be a rather difficult case. Then there are the 16 different states in Germany that all have their special demands when it comes to teachers. So, but to make it short, it will not be possible to come to Germany as a teacher and learn German. There's a possibility to come to Germany and learn German, of course, but not with a working visa.
Okay, thanks. The next question is, I think, regarding journalism. Hi, my boyfriend is a journalist from Colombia, but he did a master in Spain. So does he need a recognition of the master's degree, even if he had done it in the EU?
It's a good question, because we have these cases sometimes. Since he is Colombian and has a non-European citizenship, he has to do a recognition, because the recognition of his degree is necessary in order for a working visa. Although it is a European university, and if people with a Spanish citizenship, for example, he would not have to prove, or he would not have to apply for recognition. So to make it a bit easier, he has to do that. He has to apply for recognition. So he should see whether his degree is listed on ANABIN, or he has to make a statement of comparability. And then he also needs a working contract with a German company. And it has to be related to his degree. That means he cannot show a working contract as a cook, for example, or something else, or as a gardener. It has to be something that is related with journalism. So let's say working in an office, secretary, something like that, back office, for example. And together with the statement of comparability or the ANABIN printout from ZAB, he can apply for a working visa.
Okay, thank you. The next question is, what is the job title of medical technologist, medical laboratory scientist in Germany? Can you help there further?
It is these medical fields that go that are related to the technical side of medical jobs usually are called, or if I would translate them directly, they would be medizinischer Laborassistent oder medizinisch-technischer Laborassistent oder medizinisch-technischer Radiologieassistent. So if I would translate it into English directly, it would be like medical technical laboratory assistant. These are all jobs that are regulated, and they are processed by the same authorities in most cases that also process jobs such as nursing, for example. So this means you have to identify the right job. In your case, it would be most probably medizinisch-technische Laborassistentin oder medizinisch-technischer Laborassistent. And then you have to follow the recognition procedure as I have described it. That means identify the right authority, choose the right state, submit your documents, and all these things.
Okay, the next question is doctor assistant regulated in Germany?
This is an usually this job is not regulated in every case. It is the so-called Arzthelferin or Arzthelfer, which usually doesn't need recognition, but still it is helpful to get in touch before, you know, for example, if there is an if there's a job contract with a doctor in Germany, you should get in touch with the Chamber of Doctors when it comes to language requirements. They may require a language test or the proof that you speak German before you will get the visa, for example. So it is not regulated, but still it doesn't mean that you will immediately get a visa once you have a job contract in Germany. There may be some hurdles to climb, so such as the proof of language, for example.
I have one question. That means if they come from a country outside of a European country, but they still need recognition, right?
When it comes to Arzthelfer?
Yes, Arzthelfer, yes. Because actually one of the conditions of the visa is to prove that your qualification is recognized in Germany. So in that case, they still need recognition, even if this profession is not regulated in Germany, right?
Yes, it is still required. But it is, although it is not regulated within the it is not regulated, you still have to apply for recognition. That's right. Yeah.
Okay. The next question is, we have receiving a lot. I hope you have the 5 minutes.
No problem.
In which areas is permitted to work when I'm preparing myself for the recognition process of my profession as a doctor from Colombia and have 16D visa?
Sorry, what was the first part of the question? In which area?
Is it permitted to work when I'm preparing myself for the recognition process of my profession as a doctor from Colombia and have a 16D visa?
In which area, and when I'm preparing my
recognition process. I think maybe because she's asking more questions. Hi, Maria.
Yeah.
Okay, she wrote a detailed question furthermore. Maybe I read it. I'm a doctor from Colombia and I'm in Munich from 6th January. I have applied early February to financement through BUMP to make preparation courses for the Fachsprachprüfung. And she also made the Goethe test last Friday. Congratulations. And have received my certificate. BUMP has given to me a Berechtigung for a berufsbezogenen Sprachkurs, but I have applied for a C1 FSP course, not a B2 one. I would like to know if I need to make a new request and send all the documents once again per post. The process the first time took until around 6 weeks until I could get the Berechtigung. She's asking because her contact person at the IQ Netzwerk is on vacation. Maybe you can help further if she needs to apply again for the new course.
Well, to be honest, I don't want to say something wrong. I'm just not. Don't feel like I should answer this because we are divided in 2 teams, and one team is specialized when it comes to the questions for medical doctors, and I think it'll be better to get in touch with EQ again and see if there's someone else who could help her out, because I would say it shouldn't be necessary to submit all these documents again for the next course. But then again, I don't want to say something wrong there and maybe interfere with the process, with the ongoing process. So so let me be a bit careful here and better get in touch with IQ in Munich again.
Okay, yeah, thank you. That's totally understandable in this case. The next question is, where can I find job offers as Arzthelferin? Or is it necessary to search for it individually, sending emails to each hospital?
Yeah, this is, we hear this a lot. It also depends on your language skills. So we come from the Federal Employment Agency. This is my employee, and we provide the service of, or we provide the service of job search for you when you speak German on a B2 level. But if you don't, you're pretty much on your own. So when you are looking for jobs as an Arzthelferin, all you can do is to try the usual search engines. You should get in touch with medical practitioners. Usually Arzthelferin are employed privately. That means they work in private practices and not in clinics. So, but how exactly you should proceed, I cannot say at this point, because we don't provide people with job opportunities. We just help people with recognition process related questions.
Okay, thank you. Maybe Jean-Marc, you can also show our job listings on the Make It in Germany. Maybe she can look there at the job offers.
Yes.
I can give you the rights because the Make It in Germany website also offers publishes job listings. Maybe there you can find jobs. Wait a minute, Jean-Marc.
Wait a minute.
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so when you go, that's actually our Make It in Germany website. When you're gonna make it in Germany, you go by working in Germany and then job listing here. Wait a minute. Job listing. And here's actually the job listing, so you can just search, you can type what you want. You can search by the federal state, or actually there are already provision in demand related to, for example, nursing professionals. So all job about nursing in general are going to pop up, and then you can see actually the job. And then when you want to view more details, you have to click on that. And yes, I would strongly recommend you to look for to take a look at our job listing, because as I said in the beginning, the biggest advantages of this job listing is that the firms that are listed here, they are actually aware that the job listing, the job offer are published on Make It in Germany, and they also know that Make It in Germany is for qualified professionals from around the world. So they won't be surprised at all if they receive a candidature from someone outside of Germany. So actually, I will strongly recommend you to first take a look of the Make It in Germany job listing, and look at the job in this job listing first. And then if you can find anything, you still have the opportunity to look in private job listing in Germany. And yes, that's actually a possibility you still have.
Thank you. I think we have I will ask one last question, and then unfortunately I have to close the chat for this time. The next question is, I want to have a recognition of my qualification and experience, even though it's not non-regulated. I studied logistics and transport. Please, do you know the competent authority in this case? Logistics and transport.
Logistics and transports. Well, then it depends again whether it is an academic degree in logistics and transport, or whether it has been vocational training. So when it's an academic degree, it should be directed at ZAB. That means there has to be an assessment of the degree or research at the Anabin database. That means it has to be ZAB has to look if it is if there's a comparability. If it's non-academic, so if logistic and transport is vocational training, then the competent authority again is different in each state. In this case, for example, Industrie- und Handelskammer usually are the competent authority for this type of training, and they will do an assessment of your training. So the division here is whether your degree is academic or non-academic.
Okay, thank you. So now we are closing the chat. Thank you very much for the helpful input, and thank you to all the participants who are joined us today. Yes, I think that's all from our side. Maybe you can just tell us again when the people have further questions, how they can contact you.
Yeah, as I have shown to you, we cannot be contacted directly. It is usually through the Make It site, to the Make It in Germany site. But one possibility would be to get in touch with us is the email address. When you send something to this address, you will usually be asked to fill a form. This form will be sent to you, and you will also be asked to submit a CV and a copy of your diploma. And then you will be registered, and we will guide you through the process. So this is the usual way to contact us. So if you just have a question, you may better get in touch with the hotline, because there are people who can help you with a specific question. But when you say, okay, I do want to make a recognition of my degree, then you just write a mail to us.
Okay, thank you. Jean-Marc, do you want to show the contact details?
Yes, thank you. I already see our website. If you go on services, you can click by contact us, and then you can you see the different possibility you have to contact us. Like as I mentioned before, you can use the chat, or you can send us an email, or you can call the hotline. Also, if you have questions regarding the recognitions, and you can just use one of these possibility. And if you also want to contact directly the Service Center for Professional Recognition, you can also use the hotline, and then they are going to give them the right contact person. So feel free to contact us if you have a further question regarding recognition. In general, we also have information on the broad topic of recognition on our website. If you go by working in Germany and having recognition, now you can see we need recognition, information about the recognition procedure, and also have information about the different method of the statement of comparability, or how to use the unavailability rate. So actually, that's all information regarding recognition you can find on Make It in Germany. And as we said before, we are going to upload the webinar today, but also the webinar of Monday on Tuesday on our YouTube channel. And feel free to check the 3 different videos, and I'm pretty sure you are going to have a lot of answers in a lot of questions already answers in the webinar. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you to the experts, and thank you to the participants. So now I say goodbye, and we see us next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.